Hi, my name is Fred Taylor. I'm the Operations Manager here at McLeod RST Clutches, and welcome to another edition of our how-to videos. So come along, let's see what we have in store. Today at McLeod RST Clutches, we're going to show you the RST dual disc clutch. This is the hottest clutch on the market today. This clutch is very, very drivable. It's got very soft pedal pressure, very smooth engaging, and it will hold up to 800 horsepower. So this is the perfect clutch if you've got a new car, LS Camaro, Corvette, the new Mustang. You put a supercharger, turbocharger, nitrous oxide on it. Stock clutch is no longer going to hold the added horsepower that you've put on your engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this dual disc clutch in here. Now, it's not rocket science to get a clutch to hold. You can either do one of three things. You can increase the pedal pressure, or I should say increase the clamping pressure, which would translate to pedal pressure. Unfortunately, that's not very doable unless you like driving around with a very, very stiff clutch, and most people don't, especially in rush hour traffic. The next thing you can do is go to some exotic material, carbon, or some of the more exotic metallic discs. They will hold with less pressure. The problem with those is they're very, very aggressive. So when you're in rush hour traffic, your clutch is like an on and off switch. It's very hard to softly engage it and creep up. It's like wants to jump on you or stall. And the last thing you do is just more contact surface. And at McLeod, that's what we choose to do, is more contact surface. The more contact surface you have, the more holding power you have. And you don't have to increase the pedal pressure. So what we've done is we've actually double disced it. We've gone with 2 discs instead of 1, because when you're running a single disc, you can only go so big in diameter, and then you just run into the pressure plate bolts. But if you make a double disc, you can double the contact surface and still be small. And that's another key point, is on your input shaft, you do not want a large disc spinning on your input shaft, because the further out something is from center, the heavier it is rotating. Okay? So the purpose of a clutch is to disengage the motor from the transmission so you can shift, okay, to the next gear. If you've got a big, heavy rotating mass on that input shaft, what's going to happen is you're going to push the clutch in, but that disc is not going to slow down. So basically, why have a clutch? Because it's going to wear your synchros out, and then you got all sorts of problems. So McLeod has chose to go to a small diameter disc. The RST, and let me show you right here, the RST uses 9 11/16 diameter discs. That's the key to this whole clutch. Because the diameter is small, even though you have 2 discs, the rotating weight is light. And that's what gives us lots of holding power, but we don't need lots of clamping load. So we got a very low pressure plate. When you put this on, it just makes life much, much better. McLeod actually makes 3 different types of RSTs. We make a red ring. If you see a red ring, that indicates it's for a large flywheel. That'd be your large Chrysler, your large big block Fords, and your large GM, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, and Chevrolet. If you see a black ring, that's for the small flywheels. That would be for your 157-tooth Ford, your 130-tooth Chrysler, and your 153-tooth Chevrolet. And then last but not least, we have our gold ring. And we refer to that at McLeod as our metric ring. Okay, what this fits is the LS Camaros and Corvettes and Cadillacs. It also fits the new Mustangs, the 4.6 and the 5.4, and now the new 5.0 Mustang. So anything with a metric pattern, we're going to use the gold ring. Other than that, everything else is the same. The pressure plate, the disc, and the floater are all the same. When you get this, it'll all be bolted together. You'll take it apart just like I have right here. I have the ring with the floater on it. I have the pressure plate, and I have the 2 discs. Now the discs are marked bottom and top. Bottom disc means it goes towards the flywheel. And it's also got a sticker right here saying flywheel side. So this goes against the flywheel. This has Marcel, and this helps keep the clutch from chattering when you go to take off. So you want to put this against the flywheel first. So you'll take your lineup tool, you'll put it through the disc and then insert the lineup tool into the pilot bearing. Then what you'll do is you'll take your ring, which already has the floater on it, and you'll find your pressure plate pattern. Okay, so these holes are pressure plate patterns. So you will lay this over this disc and bolt this to your flywheel. And then you'll go ahead and torque it to factory specs. Okay, after you do this, you want to make sure, and I'll hold this up so you can see it better, but pretend this is up against the flywheel. You want to make sure that this bottom disc here is free to rotate, that there's nothing dragging on it. We don't want this pushing down and pinching this disc, because if it does, your clutch is not going to disengage, and I don't care how much the pressure plate moves. Okay, so make sure that this has got release and you can turn it. The next thing you do is put the top disc on. Okay, so you run the lineup tool right through the top disc, through the bottom disc, and into the pilot bearing. Once you've done that, then you'll take the pressure plate and you will set it on the ring. Okay, now you want to be careful. We at McLeod will mark this when it comes from the factory. There will be some marks. But what you want to make sure is, you see right here where this strap is? Okay, right here where the strap's on this pressure plate. You see this archway? Now there's a small archway here, but there's a large archway here. You want to make sure you put this archway over the top of that archway. We've had customers that haven't done it that way, and it pinches the disc. So you'll set that on there. Okay, and you can see you've got clearance. You want to double check, make sure nothing is touching. And with your lineup tool already in here, and this is what it's going to look like when it's on the flywheel, and you still got your lineup tool in there, the last thing you want to do is turn that tool one direction or the other. Doesn't matter which way you go. What you're doing is lining up the leading edges of the splines of the disc. Make it much easier putting the transmission in. After you've rotated it, then you go ahead and put the nuts and everything on and torque them. On the 3/8, we're torquing those to 35 foot-pounds of torque. On these floaters, these are 5/16, we're torquing those at 25 foot-pounds of torque. Once you've bolted it down, you go ahead and adjust. If you've got a hydraulic linkage, you go ahead and adjust your hydraulic bearing. If you've got mechanical linkage, you go ahead and adjust that, and you're done. Go drive it. Make sure you get adequate break-in time on this. Now, we used to say 500 miles. In actuality, what we're asking you to do is to cycle the clutch. So we figure it's about 12 to 1400 cycles of pushing the clutch in and letting it out while you're moving the car or shifting. So city driving is what breaks the clutch in a lot better. So there you have it. You put it in the RST and it will hold 800 horsepower. It will drive like a stock 10.5-inch diaphragm. It'll be smooth as glass. You'll love this clutch. For those who have more horsepower, more than 800 horsepower and less than 1,000, then we have the big brother to the RST, which is the RXT. And the only thing different is we changed the disc. We have different material that goes on the disc to give it more bite, more holding power, and that will take you up to 1,000 horsepower. But you still have soft pedal pressure. You still have smooth engagement. So you've got the best of both worlds, and you can take it to the racetrack. This is not a competition clutch, so do not buy this clutch if you're wanting to put it into a race car. Okay? This is a street clutch that can go to the racetrack, not a race clutch that can be driven on the street.